everybody. I have 12 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure we'll have other people join in as we go, but welcome everybody. It's another Wednesday. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Dave, if you would put up the flag. For those of you joining us today, feel free to mute your microphone if you would like to, or you can follow along out loud if you would like. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Dan, would you do invocation for us today?
Yes. Father, once again, we call upon you to heal our land, to bring peace to our nation, and break down barriers, cause us to focus on you and our families and our community, and bless those endeavors. We thank you now for this time in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. All right. Guests today, we have Eva. Hello with J-Bar-J. Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
And then Hannah, do you want to introduce?
And we have Patricia, who has put in a membership application and will soon be a member here. And she's visited one other time. And unfortunately, her mic or something isn't working, so she can't say anything right now. But she's a great neighbor. I'm very glad that she wants to join.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the referral, Patricia. We're glad to have you. Thank you for joining. All right. Okay, so announcements. You've got an announcement for me. Dan.
Okay, so we're looking for signups for our bell ringing that's on Saturday, December 19th. Michelle Duff has sent out a sign-up sheet, so please use that. Check your emails for that. I talked with the gentleman in charge of Salvation Army, and he assured me that along with all the stores we'll be working at are considered essential, the services of Salvation Army are also considered essential. So there's not much chance it will get postponed or canceled due to the kind of restrictions we are currently seeing. So we're going to take all the appropriate steps to protect ourselves and all of our volunteers, including the key clubbers, which sounds like we might get some assistance from them. And so sign up, everybody, so we can get those sheets full. And Rachel, is someone making contact with Rotary to get them to sign up as well?
Yes, so I've sent that all over to Rotary. I need to follow up with them and see if they've got any interest. I haven't checked the form either, but I did forward that on to them because they expressed a want to get involved face-to-face with some efforts. So I'll circle back around with them.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Sign up.
Okay. I think I saw Hannah first.
Okay, I'm just going to go on the same topic, and that is volunteers for the Seas Candy pop-up store sales. And I am going to start making appointment calls, calling people that have volunteered in the past. I think that helps just to give a little call and see where people are at. And I'll be hanging around on Friday at the Seas pop-up, waiting for the shipment. Truman will probably be there with me most of the time, so I'm fine. Then Saturday, we actually don't need any more volunteers than what we already have from 10 to 2 for decorating and cleaning. But feel free to drop by with a Christmas knickknack. If you have a Christmas knickknack, just pop in with it or something kind of decorative for Christmas so we can make the place festive. So that's all I have right now. And then I think, Monday from 10 to 2, we're going to have a pre-order pickup. So go ahead and pre-order. Time to order your Seas candy.
Thank you. All right, Earl, go for it.
Just want to take a minute about the food collection. Said I've ordered the bags. They are supposed to be here at the end of next week. We'll see how that goes. But regardless if I'm able to get the bags to you next week or not, please begin collecting bags of food. Everything you see in here concerned about the need to fill our food banks up, it's just appalling that we've got the need that we have. So even if you don't have a bag, please begin collecting it in just a shopping bag, and I will get you one as soon as they come in. Just if you need one, please let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, any other announcements today? Well, I have one. I announced it to the board meeting yesterday, but I wanted to say it again here for those that weren't at the board meeting. I have selected my president's project, which is going to be Friends of the Children. And of course, that is contingent on the success of our Vintners Dinner and whether we're able to host that this year. But for those that aren't familiar with Friends of the Children, they are an organization that seeks to end the cycle of poverty and the negative effects that come with it, such as low educational attainment, teen pregnancy, and criminality. So they identify children at a very young age and assign a mentor one-on-one who stays with that child as they grow up. And if you have any more questions about that, feel free to reach out to Penny, or you can go to friendsofthechildren.org, and they've got a lot of information there. So, all right, so next up, we have decided to reintroduce Happy Dollars. So Happy Dollars is just really important for us to have that sense of community and togetherness. And of course, Happy Dollars helps foster that. So for those of you joining us, Happy Dollars is our group believes that there's enough negativity in the world out there. We would rather focus on the positive. And if you would like to share something you're happy for, or several somethings, please share with the group for a donation of $1 a piece. This is just a test run to begin with, and John Duff is going to be keeping track and sending you a happy invoice at the end of the month indicating just how happy you are, and then payment options are to come. So I don't see that John has joined us yet today, so I'll do my best to keep track. All right, so who wants to start us out with Happy Dollars today? John Bruce, I saw your hand first.
Thank you. I'm going to start, first of all, by putting in a happy 20, and that's for all of the happiness I've had in the last 6 months, regardless of what's going on. And maybe others will do the same. I have a neutral dollar that I'm also putting in. The reason it's neutral is that I've been informed that one of my students from years ago, I think he was in his 40s, has passed away due to COVID. On the other side of the coin, I have another one that did survive it and is doing well.
Okay, all right, who's next? Dan.
5 Happy Dollars, and for many of you who already know, but for our granddaughter Adley, who has made a phenomenal transition through her bone marrow transfer, and for my son's family, he was the donor. We believe she got to go to the safe house, if you will, next door to Stanford Children's Hospital for the first time last night since the beginning of October. So just a big thank you to all of you who have been praying and well-wishing for our family. And our friend Tim, who had COVID and is back home in La Grande now, ended up stuck in a hospital in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, in the ICU for a week, but is recovering and doing well. So just another thank you there for that healing.
It's good news. All right, Jenny, I see money.
You do. So I would like to give 20 Happy Dollars. 17 of it is for the auction we just had for Big Brothers Big Sisters. It was a huge success, even though the transition to virtual was quite the challenge. We were able to sell all but one of our auction packages, and then the extra 3 are, I'm gonna cry, are for my 3 lovely daughters that I love very much and have been patient and loving and supportive through this challenging year. So $20.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Roland.
I'm going to throw in 10. Just happy that we're doing this again, but also that from my family's perspective, Gail's family, everybody's healthy. Some people are having increased risk, not necessarily this old man, but some others with underlying health issues, but so far so good. So
Good news. Dan, I see your hand keep going up. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. I've got 10 happy dollars, 1 for each bag of leaves in my backyard. The maple tree is now free of leaves, or at least it appears that way, as long as the wind doesn't blow the neighbors into my yard. And I got 1 more happy dollar. Last Friday, we served a Jericho table, and Chris Ritchie was there and was a tremendous help in getting the meals served for the people in need. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Hannah and Truman.
Yeah, I have $5 for family all being well. I just got in touch with my 2 children over the last day. And also I have a granddaughter who had a straight A report card, her first term as a sophomore. And her teachers had encouraging words for her too. So it was altogether a delight with the kids.
How about the shopping today?
And I'm going shopping with my grandson today. He has ordered gloves and a cap for some reason. I didn't know kids still wanted caps, but it gets cold back in Pennsylvania. So yeah. I guess that explains it.
He's in Pennsylvania and they're going to do the shopping on Zoom.
Right.
Oh, fun.
Right after this. After this.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
All right, Ann.
Yeah, I'll throw in $10. Frank and I look like creatures from outer space, but we've figured out how to ride our bikes in the cold.
All right. Josh.
I've got 10 happy dollars, 7 of which, 1 for each day I got to spend on vacation last week. 2 of those 10 are for the 2 Thanksgiving feasts we're excited to have next week. And the last happy dollar is just happy we can finally do happy dollars again.
Yes. All right. Anybody else? Yes, go for it.
I'll go for it. I'll do $10 as well. 6 of it is for the 6,000 miles that I've got on my bike this year already, lifetime max. Had a great crabbing trip, a couple crabbing trips with the kids over at Corvallis. Our granddaughter had COVID and recovered like in 3 days and was back in school swimming the next week. So we're happy for that.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? I don't want to leave anyone out.
Yeah.
Great. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. I'll do 10 happy dollars, 5 because we're having a baby girl in April. Just public announcement and everything's healthy there. And then another 5 just for doing happy dollars and being a part of it.
All right, Dan, what do you have there?
I have a personally signed, just another $5.
Okay.
Personally signed bottle from Eola Hills Winery of Pinot from Pat Casey, who I got to spend some time with at the College World Series. And my friend Greg Hodecker delivered it to me yesterday. He had picked up several bottles there, and Pat Casey was there signing. And so he brought this home to me. So I'm thrilled to have this reminder and memory from the College World Series and Pat Casey.
Nice. That's fun.
That's cool, Dan.
Yes.
I can give another $5 if you let me tell a joke.
Go for it.
Gotta be more than that.
What's black and white and red all over?
Newspaper.
A slow panda being chased by a fast lion.
All right, Dave, remind me, how much was that joke worth?
5.
5, okay. Okay, so I'll skip the joke of the day because Dave did such a good job filling in for me on that one. All right, so we are ready for our program today. So Eva, take us away.
Thanks for having me. I was invited by Penny to come present, and then realized later that my colleague Jenny is also a Kiwanis. So we've been in this is our third Zoom meeting together today, actually. So, and before I start, I have a little PowerPoint presentation that talks about all of the different programs. I am with JBARJ Youth Services, of course. We have a bunch of different programs around Central Oregon helping youth in jeopardy. And before I start, I want you all to stop and think about when you were young and when you were a kid, and your parents and the adults that surrounded you that would support you when you were struggling or help you overcome hurdles. They provided the scaffolding that kind of surrounded you and helped you become who you are. And then I want you to think about that and think about where you would be now if you hadn't had that, if you didn't have those people in your life. And what trapdoors would you have fallen through, and would you be where you are today without them? And for a lot of the kids we serve, or for the kids we serve, we provide that scaffolding. And for a lot of the kids, we become their family and their extended family. So I think that that's a good place to start. I'm going to share, I have a PowerPoint presentation, if I can find the right screen. I think this is it. No, that's not it. Sorry about that. Where the heck am I? Sorry, I'm a little lost. Ah. Why is it not coming up?
We can see the JBARJ Youth Services screen.
Is that what's showing?
Yeah.
Yes.
It says JBARJ Youth Services. It's just not coming up on my computer. Okay, I need to look at this other one then. Here we go. Nope, that's not the one I need. Sorry about this. This is the one I need. Okay. So at the center of all of our programs is the idea that beliefs and self-talk influence the decisions that ultimately define one's life. And mistaken beliefs and destructive self-talk lead to poor choices. And using accountability-based cognitive restructuring, it teaches us how to examine our beliefs and thoughts. And cognitive awareness is, in essence, thinking about thinking. And being mindful is not really the same as trying to control your emotions. And by identifying and interrupting problematic thinking, like self-talk, like I'm a bad person, I'm unlovable, I can't succeed, then the youth in our programs can start to see how their thoughts have impacted their emotions and behaviors. It's also important to distinguish between thoughts and emotions. And by learning the physical sensations that accompany underlying emotions, the kids can begin to choose more helpful and adaptive thoughts. And this in turn can interrupt the negative emotions. Being mindful and non-judgmental of our emotions is an important tool to regulate their intensity. And a lot of the kids in our programs have never even thought about how those things all influence each other. Some of the youth in our programs have dropped through a trap door that would be hard to get out of alone. We work with kids that have fallen through one of these, like involvement with juvenile justice or homelessness. And also we try to catch kids who might be at risk of falling through one before they get to that point. JBARJ's mission is offering innovative options for at-risk youth and families who are working towards self-sufficiency and personal responsibility. That's our programs. I'll run through all of them in just a minute. And this, you guys are in Redmond. They threw into this PowerPoint presentation. This is some pictures of a project that we did in Redmond recently. And we worked with Furnish Hope to take a house that was fairly trashed and clean it up. And it is now providing some transitional living quarters for some people that had been in our, or some of the kids that have been in our programs. And I'll start with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Oregon. By matching professionally screened adult mentors, or bigs, and littles, we ignite, defend, and empower their potential. And we're redefining what's possible for children in Central Oregon. And we've seen how mentoring improves the futures of mentees. They get better grades, they achieve higher levels of education, and experience improved relationships with the other people in their lives. Young people with a mentor not only grow personally, but they have statistically better social and economic opportunity than those who don't. Yet there's a lot of kids in Central Oregon that don't have that opportunity. And Kindred Connections through Kindred Connections, we help families in crisis that don't have a safety net. And we mobilize and equip mentoring families and area church communities to provide support while parents work to secure stability for their families. We help provide mentoring relationships for the parents and sometimes temporary housing for the children to families in crisis while they try to work through their problems or their struggles. The program connects families with needed support during times of a challenge, and that can be job loss, serious illnesses, homelessness, and other influences that complicate parenting. And again, you know, that's around these families. They don't have that scaffolding. Even as a parent, maybe they don't have family support that they can turn to during those times, and we are able to step in and provide some of that support. Cascade Youth and Family Center and the Loft, we provide runaway and homeless youth a broad range of shelter and services. We help kids kind of where they are and work with them towards stability. A lot of times they'll move along the continuum of services that we have. Outreach provides kids living on the street with drop-in hours and, well, not right now during COVID, but normally drop-in hours to have a shower, get a meal, and access to other help. We do currently outreach is still going out and working with the kids and trying to get them connected to resources out that are living on the street. We also provide family mediation to those kids if there's a possibility we might be able to reunite them with their families, or sometimes a fan advocate will identify children or youth in schools that are struggling with their families and at risk of running away. And we can sometimes come and offer family mediation for them. And then we have emergency shelter, and it gives the kids who are maybe living on the streets a safe place to go and get away from the perils of living on the streets. A lot of youth fall victim to, you know, other predators while they're out there, human predators. And it also, emergency shelter can also offer a family that where things have gotten heated up and they're trying to go through mediation with us, a safe place for the youth to stay while while we can work through some of the issues with them. And sometimes they're able to go back and be reunited with their family. The longer term transitional living at the Loft gives them the opportunity to have a safe place to live as they finish their education, get a job, and then we also teach them skills for self-sufficiency. While they're living at the Loft, they have to save 75% of their income, which is also kind of key when they're moving out. Then they have money for setting up their household, or it's also a habit then that they're able to kind of learn how to save. And then our independent living program teaches life skills to youth aging out of foster care. A lot of times when kids age out, they find themselves on their own and without the skills to move into self-sufficiency, and a very disproportionate percentage of them end up homeless within a year. And so it gives them the skills that they need to be able to move into adulthood. And then, as with all of our J-Bar-J programs, the youth working to continue their education, post-secondary education, have access to J-Bar-J's scholarship program for the kids in our programs. Grandma's House, a couple of years ago, became a part of J-Bar-J as Woody was looking to retire. Some of you may know her program. It's emergency and transitional shelter for homeless and or abused girls, parenting young mothers, and young mothers choosing adoption for her child. For over 25 years, we and they have provided 24/7 hope, support, tools, and education to help these girls make good life decisions and become self-sufficient. It gives them a safe and supportive environment for them to become mothers, and they can learn about health and parenting, continue their education, and gain the life skills for a smooth transition into living independently. Oh, sorry, I didn't hit forward. There's the Grandma's House slide. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Academy at Sisters. The Academy at Sisters is a therapeutic boarding school where we work with young women who have, anxiety, depression, and other struggles that teenagers face. This can sometimes be daunting hurdles that lead to falling grades, detachment from friends and family, and other behaviors that put them at risk. And we use a multifaceted therapeutic approach to help the girls recognize and challenge their beliefs and patterns, to heal and to build healthy lives. We use an approach that blends both traditional talk therapy and experiential therapies, like accountability-based cognitive awareness, dialectical behavioral therapy, and equine-assisted therapy. So, then the proficiency-based academics allow the students to take ownership of their education and connect with the learning process. Our newest standalone program, this was a part of Cascade Youth and Family Center for a number of years, is the AT Project, which is anti-trafficking. We're not just another awareness building nonprofit in that arena. We work directly with victims to help them regain their independence, safety, and stability, and to rebuild their lives. We provide comprehensive case management and crisis intervention. We assist them in creating safety plans, and as well as offering much needed emotional support to survivors of sex and labor trafficking. We also coordinate the Deschutes County Commercially Sexually Exploited Children, or CSEC, response team. And it's the group that's responsible for responding to cases of human trafficking in Central Oregon. This team is a collaboration of agencies working together to coordinate and leverage resources and provide a comprehensive approach. It includes several county agencies. The Kids Center is the other nonprofit. They provide the forensic interviews. All of the different branches of law enforcement that you would find in Central Oregon and the District Attorney's Office are all a part of this team that we coordinate. And then there's the J-Bar-J Boys Ranch, which is the original program of J-Bar-J Youth Services, and started in 1968. And it's a residential treatment program for adjudicated teen boys, and it provides an opportunity to restructure thinking, succeed academically, and grow in responsibility. then J5, which is under the same program, but it's a little bit more intensive but short-term, offers short-term stabilization and assists boys that are on parole or probation to move to a lesser level of support by teaching them, you know, de-escalation skills. And a lot of times the J5 kids end up moving then on into the Boys Ranch program. Both of those programs, as well as the Academy X Sisters, are served through our JBarJ Learning Center, and it's an on-site private alternative school that's contracted with the Benwood Pines School District, and we have diploma track and GED preparation and testing. And you know, we work to re-engage the students in the learning process. So that's just a quick rundown of all of our programs. And that's the end of the slideshow. So now if I can get back to. So, I'm sorry about this, and I'm usually pretty good with all this stuff, but it's not, for some reason, I'm having trouble finding the right screen. There we go. Okay. And so all of these programs operate under, you know, one 501c3 that is JBarJ. A lot of people don't understand kind of the breadth of the different programs that we have, but that is sort of the continuum that we offer around Central Oregon. Do you guys have any questions or?
Are you going to have the horse show again this year, or is that in doubt because of the crud?
We hope so. We tried. Jenny and I worked really hard on. It's her baby, and we worked really hard. I was helping her on that, on trying to get it to go last year. Up until we the final no, basically. And so we are starting to work on it right now. And yes, we're planning on it, and we're keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that we'll be able to do it. And if, for those of you who don't know, it's the High Desert Classics is our largest fundraiser of the year. It's also the largest hunter jumper show in Central Oregon. And we, in the field there at the Boys Ranch, we start with a field, and we put up all of the facilities and build a horse show basically from scratch every year. And it is a huge fundraiser for us. We sadly weren't able to have the live event this year. Am I freezing?
No.
Okay, I kind of froze up on my screen, so. And we weren't able to have the event this year, which of course creates a fairly large hole in our funding, because I believe it typically brings in about $250,000 to our programs.
Wow.
And supports all of them. We had a virtual event, which was really fun, but it's still, and it was relatively successful for being the first time that we've ever done a virtual event like that. But partly because the funding that comes in from that event is the show entry fees. So it's people pay to enter the competition, and that is the biggest source of revenue for it. It's not really the sponsorships and donations. We were able to recapture a lot of the sponsorships and donations, or keep those sponsorships and roll them into the virtual show. But we're missing that big piece. So it was, we made a fraction of what we normally would. So definitely created a big hole in our funding. So we're hoping so. And we had to cancel Bowl for Kids' Sake for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Just finished Comedy for Kids' Sake this last week, which was another virtual event that we did. In one of the meetings that Jenny and I just had, I learned that we did net revenue was about 75% of what the event has brought us in the past. So that's really good. So.
How many children are enrolled in all of your programs?
I don't have a good answer for that. And that's something that people do ask. I need to try to figure out. I mean, we help thousands of kids every year, but they're not, a lot of the kids might be in several of our programs, and so they're not mutually exclusive. So the number that I have seen sometimes is about 3,000. But again, a lot of times that's not mutually exclusive. I have some numbers from some annual report numbers. And like in our homeless and, you know, the shelters, between the emergency shelter and the grandma's house and the loft, I believe in not this last fiscal year, but the one before, we sheltered like 75, we had 7,500 shelter nights. So that's emergency, that's both the moms and the babies, you know, that's one person, one bed, one night. So, you know, well over 7,000 shelter nights. So the boys ranch, it's a couple hundred, you know, there are several hundred in Big Brothers Big Sisters, between the community, the normal, or not normal, but the standard like bigs and littles that you think of like an adult mentor. We also have a couple of site-based mentoring programs like in schools. So we'll have high school kids that will go mentor like elementary school kids, and we will you know, take them to the kids, or this year I think it's virtual, but you know, we'll set up those mentoring relationships as well. So that would include both of those kids. So.
So Eva, this is Rachel. You had mentioned at one point in the program that the kids right now, because of COVID, aren't able to just do those drop-ins. What other ways has it affected the types of things you're able to offer as far as support?
That's a good question. I know in the loft, we can't house as many people because we need to be able to provide social distancing, and you know, having the kids in the bunk room situation is difficult. And so some of our numbers, I know this year, are off on the kids, the numbers of kids we've been able to house. You know, of course, we can't have the street outreach kids coming in to the shelter like we did, because that's where they would come and they would interact with the kids who are living there. And so that's been somewhat limited. It's also changed a great deal some of how we do things at Big Brothers Big Sisters. We've always just been basically a mentoring program. You know, that's been our focus. Well, a lot of the families of our littles, a huge percentage of them have been adversely impacted by COVID, whether that's job loss or reduction of hours. There's been, you know, a lot of them have been impacted in a negative sort of way, and they don't have access necessarily to some of the resources, or some of the resources that they do have, they run out by the end of the month. And so we have done a lot to provide support and some of that scaffolding to those families as well, and which is new for us. So we've been delivering food boxes and gift cards for groceries. We have helped families get internet service so that they could do the online schooling at home. You know, we've helped them with applications for other services, and we've even helped them with, you know, applications for like unemployment. And we were able to get through G5 a bunch of laptop computers that were donated. So a lot of these kids, and particularly in the Latino mentoring program that we have, we were able to, with G5, to provide laptop computers to a lot of the kids. You know, we, on a more fun note, Avion Water needed a bunch of Lego sets early on to give the kids something fun, you know, diversion from being stuck at home with their family. And so we were able to deliver those too, which is not really basic needs, but a fun thing that we were able to do for them. So that's those are the biggest changes that we've seen due to COVID, I guess. So, Moto Z4.
This is Dan. Obviously, you provide very broad services throughout Deschutes County, and curious about the number of employees and volunteers and your annual budget.
We have 150 employees. And we're not just Deschutes County. Some of our programs are Deschutes County specific, like the App Project, although we do work with victims that come in from outside the area. But we have programs in Jefferson and Crook County as well. Like Big Brothers Big Sisters is there. Kindred Connections, works with area churches in those communities as well. So 150 employees. Our annual budget, I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say this last year was about 10 million.
Wow.
So
how about volunteers? You get, I'm guessing, some volunteers as well?
Yeah, it varies from program to program. Big Brothers Big Sisters, of course, is the highest number of volunteers because they are the mentors, right? It's a volunteer program. The bigs are all volunteer. And so in that program, I don't have the numbers in front of me. So I'm afraid I don't remember them, but I want to say there's maybe 250 mentor volunteers in that program. Some of the programs, we don't really use volunteers to speak of at all. So it varies. Grandma's House, we do, although during COVID, again, some of the volunteering we've had to limit the people coming and going. And so some of the volunteers we haven't been using as much as we have in past years.
Of that $10 million, roughly, how much of that is funding from the state or federal government? How much of it is donations or fundraising?
It's the community support is actually not a huge number. Let me see if I can find, I'm going to go out here for a second. And I'm going to see if I can find that page. Our annual report for this year, we haven't printed yet. We've been going through an accreditation process with the Council on Accreditation. And so a lot of our things have been pushed back. But I'm gonna, if I can. No, it's being very slow. I'll bet I have it in a PDF.
While you're doing that, just a question that comes to mind. This was obviously somebody's vision a long time ago to reach out to at-risk youth. Mm-hmm. And the J-Bar-J name, is that the beginnings of the program?
That is Lyle Jarvis and how the name? I remember the other name. I know Lyle, so I always remember that. Sorry, I'm getting lost in my own stuff here. It was, I think down here, Jones. So yes, it was the last name of the two people who started the first Boys Ranch program. They found a piece of property. The story is that Lyle worked for the school, for Bend High. And I believe it was a judge here in town, called him up and said, we have, they didn't have anything in between just leaving the kids in the community and sending them to McLaren, which is the jail for youth offenders. And there were a lot of boys who just really needed some structure and some help. And so it all started with one kid, and Judge Sullivan, I think, called Lyle and said, hey, I have this kid, he just really, I don't want to send him to McLaren. He really just needs some structure. And Lyle said, we'll take him. And so with that started the Boys Ranch, and they actually eventually found a piece of property, which is the current Boys Ranch today, and started that program and lived there with, I went to school with the Jarvis boys. I grew up down the street actually from the ranch. So those kids rode my bus. So let me see. I'm still kind of lost in my things. I have too many things open on my computer, and this is creating a problem for me, I think. Let me see. I was trying to get back to that.
Funding question?
Funding question, yeah. And I apologize.
That's all right. I just was curious about where your sources of revenue were with that big a budget.
Right. It's a lot of it, like, and I can just run through it too. There's each program has a different type of funding. So the Boys Ranch is it is a contract. So that is a state, and J5, that is a state contract, and so that is funded by the juvenile justice system. And so we are a service provider kind of within the system. And then we have Cascade Youth and Family Center and Grandma's House are both sort of a mixed model. So we have federal funding for the runaway and homeless programs. We also have some grants and private funders for some of those. We take some kids who are actually foster kids, DHS. Sometimes we'll send them to us if it seems like we are the right fit for this kid. And so we work with DHS some. And then on the other extreme, you have the academy, which is fully funded by tuition. So it is a tuition-based model. It's the families of these girls that send them to us as a boarding school. And so that money comes with the kids from their families. We do have some scholarships that we are able to give them if they can't afford it. And then Big Brothers Big Sisters and Kindred Connections both are fully funded by community support. So they get sponsorships and donations and community support. And so those two programs are the biggest ones for donations and relying on donations. And let me open. Okay, I'm going to open this and try to share it. Okay. That's the wrong one. Well, this will work. Get back to the call, share my screen, and I need, oh, it's not giving it to me as a option. Maybe I need to maximize it.
I'm satisfied with all you gave us. So thank you.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm kind of looking around here, but anyway, that gives you, I do have kind of a percentage in front of me if I can get this back up. It's the donations and fundraisers and foundation grants really is only about 20% of our funding, of our revenues. So the government contracts and state contracts and stuff is much more. And then the tuition and fees. So it's about 20% that we rely on the community for.
Thank you.
Okay, let me get back to Okay, sorry about that.
All right, any final questions from anybody before we wrap up for the day?
Eva,
Earl, you're on mute.
Eva, your a video of this session will be available on our website, redmondkiwanis.org, sometime tonight.
Awesome. Okay.
Eva, thank you very much for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And we appreciate it.
Yes, Eva and Jenny both, we dearly appreciate your organization and all you do to help support our kiddos in this community. It's definitely needed, that's for sure. Okay, everybody, your thought for the day. Today comes from Danny K. And Danny says, life is a great big canvas and you should throw all the paint on it that you can.
Thank you. You guys have a
everybody.
good day.
Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.